little bit emotional because we're actually currently serving over 800 local community players in the Northeast community that are soccer players for the 9th and Van Brent Street. Our organization has ran programs and leagues here for over 12 years. And right now, Chris Cotton is actively preventing them from playing. Chris has a history of workplace discrimination and at his previous parks departments, and he's worked at before KCMO Parks, and he's continuing right now with his abusive power with our community. Chris is currently running the KCMO Parks Department as if he were a private owner. He created a biased advisory board for the 9th and Van Brent Field filled with organizations that have direct conflict of interest and are looking to monopolize the use of the 9th and Van Brent Field for their personal gains. Right now, our program is not being allowed to run with moms, dads leagues, youth leagues as well, that we already sent an email in regards to what happened with the youth leagues. I'm not going to take up too much of your time on that. And right now, Chris is demonstrating an abuse of power and is intentionally going out of his way to clear out any existing programs from the 9th and Van Brent Fields to benefit his friends and his so-called advisory committee that he formed. That right now, one of those people that is getting a really big pat on his back and getting a lot of favors from Chris is Brad Leonard, the owner of the private pay-to-play club Raigoku. I might be mispronouncing it. I apologize. Chris has interrupted our scheduled programming that we pay for to allow the Raigoku club to use for their kick-arounds, where they play for free in the middle of prime time hours, which are designated between the hours of 1 to 6 p.m. Those are called prime times because those are the ideal times that everyone's always fighting to rotate through. Right now, Chris has even gone to the extent to schedule phantom game times in order to block us from playing. You heard that right, phantom, fake game times. Right now, he's not allowing us to play from the times of 1 to 6 p.m. in the past couple of weeks, where he said that there are games being held during that time. We went to the fields. There were no games there. There were no other events being held there. We have league games for the Northeast community that plays league programs with referees, with points, with passion, with something that they feel like they belong to. And he's not allowing us to play. Right now, we are feeling discriminated against and alienated against our 800 plus community members. That is a very diverse community filled with majority Black, brown, Hispanic, local community players, and no remorse. Right now, he is operating the department based on lies and manipulations and self-serving, with the result of it's destructive to the Northeast community. I apologize. Chris is right now discriminating against us. We feel discriminated against when he interrupts our scheduled community league programs to let Raigoku play for free. We feel discriminated when Brad Leonard gets to have a pay-to-play soccer club and interrupts our scheduled existing game times so that he can have kick-arounds. We feel discriminated against when Chris makes sure to bring tents, tables, chairs, and other luxuries using the park's employees and resources to set up for Brad for free. We have evidence of this as well. We feel discriminated against when Chris ignores our countless requests to meet with him and never responds to a single email we sent to him. We feel discriminated against when Chris prioritizes building new locker rooms and a stadium on the request of Brad Leonard for his private club, when what our community needs is more fields for our community to continue to develop, not stadiums and locker rooms. We feel discriminated against when we have never been recognized for the thousands of hours of work that we have put into the 9th and Van Brent Field for the past 12 years. We've asked countless of times for repairs when there were major issues. The goals were breaking down. They were not safe to play in. We had to go out of our own pockets to fix them because no one listened to us. The person with the organization with the operating agreement didn't listen. Chris didn't listen, so we had to do it out of our own pockets. He's going to share pictures. Oh, we purchased signs and banners where we don't allow alcohol. We ask them to avoid littering. They're in Spanish. Feel free to Google Translate or ask me. I can translate all of that. That's out of our pockets as well. We feel discriminated against when we were not allowed to continue with our youth programs, where he allowed over 300 children to go without a local league for many years, ruining many lives. It's the Northeast community. If you guys aren't familiar with the area, it's a very rough area. If they don't have a passion to work towards, those kids end up going to really negative and criminal places, unfortunately. It's the truth. Mm-hmm. We feel discriminated against when we try to greet him. He won't even look us in the eye. He won't even make eye contact with us, and it's extremely disrespectful after all of the work that we've put through into this community. We feel discriminated against because this biased committee for the 9th and Van Bruntfield Soccer Committee that he formed with his inner circle does not have an impartial view to who can play on those fields. And we feel discriminated against because he told his staff members that he wants new organizations to run adult leagues at that facility instead of ours. We've never even gotten a reason why. We don't know. And we feel discriminated against because every decision Chris is making towards the 9th and Van Bruntfield is to exclusively benefit one organization, the Red Goku Soccer Club, owned by Brad Leonard. We want to know what is it with this questionable relationship that he has with Brad that justifies his actions and the way that our community is being mistreated. We want to put it out there on the record that the late Miss Mary Williams told us when she invited us into her homes many, many times. She told us that when he was hired, they did not know his history of workplace discrimination and history of previous corruption at his previous city parks departments. That unfortunately they found that out after he was hired, and they hired him based on his great resume, but did not look further than that. We want an immediate investigation and suspension upon Chris Cotton. We would like to know what happened to the $1.5 million that was supposed to be used towards renovations of the 9th and Van Bruntfield in 2023, not the new one, not a 2024, 2023, where there was only rocks placed around the perimeter and 2 gates fixed for $1.5 million. We also want him to be immediately investigated and suspended upon his history and pattern of discrimination. He has discriminated before in his workplace as a public servant, and he is now discriminating against our organization, and if this is a pattern, he will continue to do so. I want to thank you guys for your time. I didn't want to take up too much of your time. I sent you guys an email. Thank you, Carmen, for forwarding that. And it gives a lot more background onto why we're here. And please reach out for any questions. We'll be here if you want our direct cell phone numbers and anything further.
Yes. Thank you very much for everything for hearing us. This is a new board members, new commissioners. The past commissioners, Mary Williams, she's very friend of mine. She was very friend of mine. She gave me this book. She brought me his best friend, Mary Williams Niels, as a resource, friends. So she's still on my heart, and she showed me how to fight for my rights. Mm-hmm. She told me I'm a citizen, and I have to fight for my rights all the time. This is not the first time it's happened that I'm going to get kicked out from the fields. That happened 4 years ago before he came in.
Yep.
He came in for, what's his name?
¿Qué quieres decir?
You're saying the previous commissioner?
The previous commissioner,
Terry?
Terry and Roosevelt. Terry and
Roosevelt Lyons.
Terry Roosevelt was here as a director, but they get fired because they have corruption here doing to Parks and Recreation, Roosevelt and Terry. So he come on the side after them. So I think he's doing so much against us because he has a record of discriminations. He has a bad record. You're gonna case his record up. He has here.
you gave it
he's
to
a
us.
Corrupt guy too. Corrupt man.
And he has a questionable relationship with Regoku that
Yes.
just started. They just started their club. They have adults and kids in that club, and they get favors, they get luxuries, and they get free playing time, and they charge those people in their club. We know people that are in that club, and they say, yeah, we do pay our fees.
Just for the sake of time, because
Right.
President Hayden has extended this.
Thank you.
courtesy.
Thank you, Commissioner.
But in the email that is sent, this information, and you also shared this in here as well. And so while I'd like to review that, not to stand in the way of other commissioners and their questions or comments, I'd like to review this so that then I can have some prepared
Thank you.
follow-up. And so I don't have any immediate thing to say other than thank you all for your previous work. I had the privilege of being able to come to the community event, heard not only you all's perspective, but was also able to hear other community members that may have a different perspective. And so I'm taking all that into account. So just as we've been talking about the power of transparency, just know that as you all share this account, there are other concerns that have been shared about your previous engagement and what that looks like. So just know that this is all part of the consideration, and I'll do my due diligence of reading that and this in addition to the other information that is given. But thank you all so much.
Thank you,
very
Commissioner
much.
Smith.
And I say Mayor Quinton Lucas and the city councils, Melissa Robinson, everybody look up to him. He needs to have an investigation out of this happens today, because this is coming forward. We start today, and let's see what happens. I want to see what happens in the future as a citizen. I need to know that. Yes, Mr.
Yes,
Tom.
sir.
You know, we thanked you guys very much when we were down there for all you do. Chris had me go in my car and get trash bags to give you guys.
Yes, sir.
I actually have more down here for you
Thank you.
to take, so you don't have to buy them, and that is because of Chris asking me to go. I had some in my car, and he asked me if I'd give them away. So I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't see what you guys are saying, but
Thank you, sir. And we would love to use those trash bags to clean up the field after our programs,
Well,
but
that's
he
what
won't let us rent any programs right now because they're being used. He sent his director for the 9th and Van Brunt Field, Reggie, to tell us that the fields are being used by other programs, and unless Reggie is on site, we cannot host any of our community league programs there. So we are at a stalemate right now where we are not even allowed to continue with the community programs that we currently have for, like I mentioned before, false programs, because we went and checked during the times that he said, no, those are book times, you guys can't schedule game times during that. We have leagues that run. And he said, no, not from 1 to 6. We went and there were nothing going on. There was nothing going on.
your pictures that you have, the posters that you put up with no alcohol,
Yes.
I don't think I saw those when we were down there.
Well, we're no longer allowed right now.
But when we had the meeting,
We were not actively there.
it already stopped.
We haven't started because we haven't started any program this year.
For
because,
2024.
Christopher Cutton and his crew, Brad Clay and Reggie, Reginaldo,
Francois.
They're still on the same group of the committee that Chris Cutton made a special against us.
The committee filled with people and organizations looking to book
Yes.
the field for their own interests as well.
That's for their own interest because they don't let us play. Last Sunday, that was a beautiful day for our community. And he put fake hours in between. The Sunday, April 14, the same team only let us play 4 games. Last Sunday, he let me play only 1 game because on the evening, he has no time to check it out. We don't need babysitters around it. We are adults and responsible for what we do. If he tell us with your security, you need a police officer, you need something to cover the area, let us know. We're going to be there.
As Commissioner Smith
That's all we know.
said, transparency. We just want transparency because we don't even know what it is that's being held against us because he won't communicate with us. We don't know how to fix a problem if we don't know what the problem is. We are more than willing to work with whatever it is the issue is, as long as we know what it is, but he won't give us the time of day. So that's why we had to resort to using up your time, and thank you so much for extending it, commissioners, but our voices are not getting heard, and we have a local community of impoverished members. We feel like we're like the little guys. We don't have rich people playing in our leagues. We're not a rich organization, and we're not buddies with the director of KCMO Parks and Rec, so we don't know what else to do to have our voices heard for the existing programs that are currently being ran with over 800 community players.
Well, thank you for coming. I do want to say we've now heard from you all a number of times over the last few weeks, so we have heard you. We were talking about in our pre-meeting before this, having on our next board agenda an agreement with you all for our review. I do have to say I disagree with a lot of the things you said about Director Cotton, but I will leave it there. I'm not going to have a back and forth about that. But anyway, like I said, we have heard you. We are taking this back, and we do intend to bring it up at the next board meeting. So unless someone else has something else they want to say, then.
No, I mean, I guess I do think it's important to reiterate that you are being heard.
Thank you.
I will review it. I'll speak for myself.
Same.
Thank you.
I will
Thank you.
review this. I will review the email. I will have questions, and I'm sure other commissioners, it sounds like Commissioner Taylor will also do some additional review. And
Thank
so
you.
we'll have questions. And so while you are not privy to every conversation and all that, just know that you do have commissioners that are serving that are deeply interested in equitable practices.
Thank you.
And I would even say all of us. I mean, I don't think there's not one commissioner that doesn't believe in that. So please allow us that time and
you.
consideration. As President Hayden said, we'll be following up on this. I think you said next meeting, but if not, it'll...
Next meeting.
Yeah, next meeting, which is, when is our next meeting?
May
So-
14th.
So May 14th is our next meeting. We have what we call a workshop before the board meeting, and that is where we can talk and just really, this is our time to listen and to approve things. So that's our time to talk, and so we'll be able to have that, and so we'll share any, if we could maybe get our questions prepared before then, maybe we can email them, and so that
Yes.
you all can have a response.
Thank you.
But I will encourage you, just like I would encourage anyone, for any system, please engage in the protocol. If you feel like there is discrimination, to file that. I appreciate you. We have, Lena is here, which is the attorney. And so, fortunately, I can't speak to the actual protocol, but I would say that to anyone. If you feel like that there's some discrimination, then you please file a proper
With,
protocol.
Okay.
So that then you can so we can have a process, because that is also part of transparency, and it creates fairness on both sides. It gives Director Cotton a chance to address these allegations, and it also gives you all a chance to express and articulate your experience, and then it holds us accountable for doing what we are here to do. And so please, I would implore you to follow whatever those proper
Thank you.
protocols are. And Lena, if you could provide assistance in that.
thank you. We weren't aware that we could
Or
do
whatever,
that.
when I say assistance, I
follow
mean
up.
the
Yeah,
process.
but I mean, one huge favor also, at any time our community want to play, we want to play next Sunday. Give us a permit to keep going until this happens at the next meeting. And please invite me to a private meeting that you guys gonna have. I can have more information. You got a questions? I can be there for any question you ask me for.
I think it might be healthy to manage expectations about, do you have any professed expectations? We kind of talked about this before. What is the expectation that they can agree upon, that they can be aware of? You may not agree with it, but you can be aware of, so you can know.
Insurance, I have everything.
We have
The past
everything.
meetings,
We just
everything.
don't get any answers.
So if you heard, we approve all agreements that go through our facilities, so we need to approve an agreement with you all too, and our next meeting is May 14th. So our intention would be that we have the terms of that worked out so that we've got one of these memos that we can then approve on May 14th.
In the meantime, can we play with field rental permits?
Rental permits, that's what it is, rental permits by the KCMO Parks and Rec.
We've only ever actually played with field rental permits. We've never had an operational agreement.
That's what Reed told me last Sunday. Anybody that's supposed to play here, come for a permit, then you can play. Let's play with permits until something
In the
else
meantime,
comes out.
At the advisory board meeting, the panel did vote 5-2 to allow the Rizzos a limited play contract, and that paperwork will be coming forth for you for the next meeting from Reggie and Kevin Carney for your consideration.
And I want to let you know.
Which we were not aware of, and we are not in
Well, and
privy
the
to
advisory
the
board is not,
details.
they don't have any, we are the voting people.
Okay.
They are recommended, yeah.
the advisory board made of
That
the
you came to. They
Ragoku
voted-
and Guadalupe centers and people.
And as
Yes.
those entities voted to allow you all to play.
Oh, it's limited, yes. Reggie told us about the limited, that he has to be
It's reduced to
present.
8 hours.
That he has to be present at every event. And if he's not available, we can't book. He told us that in writing. If he's not available, then we cannot book those fields if Reggie is not available.
That's conflict of interest on that committee because Guadalupe Center won the fields, play adults and kids, and then we do. And that committee is also Ryoku, Brad Leonard. On that committee is also Victor Muñiz. He's doing the same thing. Everything is in conflict with us, but they have the power, and we don't have power not even to say something because they're on the committee. And the other one is Matty Rose by Moy Solorio.
Brookside Soccer.
He's another one. Everybody has same conflict of
Interest to use the field for their personal time, which is fine. We don't want the full field 24/7. We just want to continue the programs that we've had, which is only 3 nights a week and then on Sundays. And that's it. 3 nights a week for 3 hours and then on Sundays, and that is all
Open.
our programs have ran, and that has given access to over 800 community members.
Who said that? Nobody confirmed that.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right.
Do we have clarity? I want to make sure they're walking away with clarity
Thank you.
on what is the expectation. Our next meeting is May 14th.
Yes.
I'm hearing a request to play. The process is that you have a permit, it goes through, then it comes before us. The next time that we meet won't be until May 14th. And what I'm saying is, this is the kind of transparency that I'm talking about. Even if it is a different answer, we still need to be clear about what the expectation is so that we can all be on the same page. So that's what I'm asking. What is the managed expectation for this group?
The committee, the advisory group's recommendation is to allow the Rizzos a limited play. They have to have medical staff on site for the players, no alcohol permitted, and they have to have security. That's what will go into the agreement for your consideration.
And that agreement, if, will be before us in May, is that what you're saying?
Yes,
So until then, there's no access.
correct.
So 800 community players will not be able to play in their community leagues until that date.
Without an agreement through the park board, that is correct.
Thank you for your clarification.
What about Ryoku that play day all the time? And then agree to
They don't
play?
have medical staff on site. They don't have security on site.
That's what I tell you. Everything is a monopoly inside because everybody has the same interests. Then we do same interest that conflict with us because they want the same thing than us. Actually, they want us out and they want to get in. That's the purpose. So.
What's the age group of the 800? What's the range?
We actually, before the Guadalupe Centers came with the operating agreement banning any other organizations from having youth leagues, we actually had programs from 4 years old to, I think our oldest player is 67 years old. And so after the operation agreement with Guadalupe Centers with the previous Board of Commissioners, that's why he said it's not our first time here, they did not allow any other organization to have youth leagues at 9th and Van Brent Street. We came to Chris Cotton after that agreement 2 years into it when there was no leagues running for youth. And he said, well, give them more time. And now 5 years later, that's why I mentioned over 300 youth community players lives ruined because they don't have access to go to soccer leagues like in Overland Park and in like the big Jackson County leagues. They don't have access to that. The local field is their only access.
So is it 300 currently now?
Currently we have about 800. The 300 was the youth. The 800 is on the adult side. We have from ages 16 to 67 because 16-year-olds can play in the collegiate level.
And where do my last question, where do these 800 community members live?
Locally in the northeast area.
100%?
It's
98%.
It's
5 miles away, but 98, 99% there.
It's about Yeah, 8 or 9 out of 10 live in that area.
And this is the money, because we always rent the fields. We never play.
We've never played for free.
That is the proof that we pay $8,000, $6,000, $7,000 to Guadalupe Center. Guadalupe Center has $1 million 4 years ago to invest on that field, because Parks and Recreation give to Guadalupe Center all the contracts, and Parks and Recreation has another $1 million to spend. It's $2 million to spend by that time, 4 years ago. So
They came with really great ideas to make big children's programs, and it never took off. We don't know where that money went either, because not only did they have that money to invest into it, they also received thousands of dollars of our organization's field rental permit money to use in it. And actually, they tried to push us out by charging us 3 times the rate per field. They were charging us more than the Shields Overland Park soccer complex to play at 9th and Van Brunt. They were trying to push us out that way. Instead, we overcame it, and we continued. And then now we are seeing the same thing over again with other organizations that want to come in with great ideas, and we're the ones with the existing programs here.
As Commissioner Smith stated, we like to have some time to review.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank
Commissioner Smith. Thank you.
very much for
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that it?
I was the only person who signed up. Okay. All right. I'll just make sure, is there anyone else who's here to testify? Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to approve.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Our next meeting will be held May 14th at 5 o'clock.
Thank you.